When you look at the needs of pharma companies, it's completely different. So, what are the ERP systems that are going to be best fit for pharma companies? That's what we have discussed in this video. So, let's dive in. Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta and I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation consulting firm. We help our clients when they undertake any digital transformation initiatives, whether they are going to be ERP related, e-commerce related, or building the whole enterprise architecture. We help companies starting from the planning phase until go live. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be the top 10 pharma ERP systems in 2023. So before we look at the list, let's first define what pharma companies are. And these are going to be any of the pharma companies, whether you look at the distributors, repackagers, dispensers, or manufacturers, anybody and everybody who are going to be part of the pharma ecosystem. The best way to understand, okay, which companies are going to be part of the pharma ecosystem is going to be look at the trade shows. So if any of the trade shows are going to be pharma specific, any of the companies that are going to be there, those are probably a great fit for this list. Now, each of those companies could have very different business model. Some of these companies may be service companies, consulting companies, some may be device companies, drug companies. Depending upon their business model, the ERP needs might differ. So you might need to vet further in terms of which is going to be the right ERP system that is going to be fit for your business model. But this is going to give you an overarching list of the systems that do really well with pharma companies. Now, to compile this list, we look at several different factors. One of the biggest one is the market share with pharma companies. That's a big one for us. Now, the second one is going to be the cloud nativeness of the solution. Then it is going to be the roadmap, the reviews, the community, the ecosystem, the momentum. So we track all of these factors on a daily basis and we compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is BlueLink ERP. In 2022 as well, we had BlueLink ERP. So no changes there. BlueLink ERP is a very small distribution-centric package. You are going to get a lot more out of the box for the smaller pharmacies that you will not find in any other horizontal solution unless you are looking at IP in those verticals provided by a reseller or an ISV. So BlueLink ERP is going to provide a lot more out of the box. Now, the strength for BlueLink ERP is those deep last mile capabilities for pharma companies. The DSCSA compliance subject matter expertise is going to be there with BlueLink ERP that you're not going to find with a lot of other vendors. And they are going to have subject matter expertise as part of their team, as well as part of the product. And that is very uniquely challenging for the pharma-centric verticals. The processes related to DSCSA are going to be extremely embedded at the transaction level. So if your horizontal product does not support that, that could risk your implementation. It might be very tricky to be able to develop that. Now, the technical architecture is decent compared to the smaller product category because it's SQL Server based. So at least it is not file based product. But overall, the technology is going to be legacy and clunky just because they might not have as much R&D funds that you are going to find with companies such as your Microsoft and Ford. So the technology is going to be legacy and clunky, but at least it is going to work functionally for your business. So if you might have limited implementation budget, this could be a great product for smaller pharmacies. Not really suitable for pharma manufacturers, only for distribution. For manufacturers, when you are going to be looking at deep MRP processes, you require far deeper workload. So this product is probably not going to be a great fit for that. The smaller ecosystem and publishers' financial position could be challenging. overall Blue Link vendor is very small in general. So you might want to pay attention to that if that is a concern for you. And then only suitable for smaller pharma companies. When you are going to be small, it might be okay, but when you become bigger, when you have to report to your investors, sometimes that could be a challenge. Having said that, Blue Link ERP is a great solution for smaller pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 10 on. Now, number 9 on our list is the solution called SAP S/4HANA. Last year, we had Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. SAP S/4HANA targets large companies over $1 billion in revenue. So this is for publicly traded, regulated pharma companies. The strength for SAP S/4HANA solution is going to be, it's going to have the superior financial control and governance for large pharma companies, especially if you are utilizing ERP only for accounting financial reporting, then SAP S/4HANA could be great. But if you are using it for the operational capabilities and you don't have internal IT or the COE to be able to support your last mile functionality as well as the processes. Other strength for SAP S/4HANA is going to be ability to support diversified business models. So if you are very active in the M&A and you don't know what your business model is going to be in next 3, 4, 5 years, that's where these horizontal solution could be really handy. Otherwise, you might find challenging that you cannot really support those business models. So either they need to be hosted on a different ERP, and then you are probably going to be integrating it with the parent ERP. So sometimes that could be a challenge. If you're very active, let's say if you are acquiring 5, 10 companies on a yearly basis, then SAP is probably a great fit for that financial agility. SAP S/4HANA is also going to have the best of breed integrated options provided by OEM. So that's a huge plus if you're looking for that best of breed architecture. The weaknesses for SAP S/4HANA is the limited last mile capability for DSCSA compliance, the over bloated financial control processes, not necessarily fit for the smaller and mid-sized pharma companies, just because of the number of approvals that are going to be required for the bigger companies is going to be very different in the smaller companies, and sometimes you might need to spend a lot in configuring, in testing those processes, which might not be relevant for you. Having said that, SAP S/4HANA is still a very strong product, and that's why it ranks at number 9 on our list. Now, number 8 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. Last year we had Aptean Process Pro, so some changes there. Oracle Cloud ERP has very similar market positioning as your SAP S/4HANA. Now, the strength with Oracle Cloud ERP is the deep ERP capabilities for large pharma companies. So if you're buying it primarily for the financial and the accounting capabilities as well as the analytics capabilities, then it could be great. But if you're buying for the operational capabilities, it might not be the best fit. The talent ecosystem and it is really a well adopted product, so you might not find the availability of the talent as challenging. But then if you're going to be using thick IP on top of the horizontal solution, so you might still be logged with the company that might be providing, you need to utilize their consultant because it's their code. They are the only ones who can understand that, and sometimes these smaller companies may not have as well documented code. So even the other developers, even in the Oracle ecosystem, might not be able to support those products. So those are some of the considerations that you have to keep in mind. Now, the other strength for Oracle is going to be ability to support diversified business models. So if you are very active, and typically large companies are going to be very active in that game, similar to SAP S/4HANA. Now, the weaknesses for Oracle Cloud ERP is the limited last mile functionality for DSCSA compliance, and you probably are going to be developing all of these capabilities or are going to be requiring an add-on that can support these capabilities. So in general, the implementation time is going to be longer just because you need to build this. If you have internal IT who is capable of developing these capabilities, that might be okay. But then you run into the risk of implementation failure because this is the very heavy lift in general in enabling this functionality on top of the product. Now, the over bloated financial control processes, so that's not going to be very friendly for the smaller to mid-sized pharma companies, similar problem as your SAP S/4HANA. Having said that, Oracle Cloud ERP is still a very strong product for pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 8 on our list. Now, number 7 on our list is the product Aptean Process Pro. Last year we had Oracle ERP Cloud. So some changes there. Aptean Process Pro is an SMB product, targets the smaller pharma companies. The strength for Aptean Process Pro is that it has deep process manufacturing capabilities, the financial stability of a private equity company. So it's not really mom and pop. It's owned by one of the biggest private equity company and full of investors there. So you have that assurance there, and it's going to have deeper ERP capabilities than smaller pharma ERP systems. They might be stronger in the operational processes, but they might not be as strong with the accounting processes when you are going to be needing the financial control processes. Let's say if you are publicly traded, that's where Aptean Process Pro might struggle. The weakness for Aptean Process Pro is that it has legacy interface, so it's not as new. The ecosystem is very small, so primarily you are relying on Aptean to be able to provide support, professional services. If you are not happy with that, you might not have the options in their ecosystem. The last mile functionality for DSCSA compliance may not be as strong, so you still need to develop that on top of your Aptean Process Pro. Having said that, Aptean Process Pro still wins in the pharma space, and that's why it ranks at number 7 on our Number 6 on our list is SysPro. And last year we had Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O. SysPro is a smaller product, targets smaller pharma companies. It's unique because it's going to have the process capabilities as well as the discrete manufacturing capabilities. So it might work with companies that are going to require both of them if they are producing the drugs, but they might have a small device that might go along with that. So when, or maybe for packaging, you might require that. So that's why SysPro is a strong product for pharma companies. The strength for SysPro is going to be the formulation management capabilities that pharma companies are going to be needing, ability to support diversified business model. The supply chain and finance capabilities are going to be very strong. With SysPro, you are going to get a feel of either SAP or Sage with the product, just because the finance and distribution capabilities are very strong. The weaknesses for SysPro is that it's only suitable for smaller pharma companies, and the DSCSA compliance capabilities are going to be limited as well. The technical issues might still be there with the product. They have gone through a huge migration. They used to be primarily file-based. They converted it to the SQL-based. They were on mainframe, but now I think they have modernized their technical architecture. So it might take a while before it is stabilized. Having said that, SysPro is still a very strong product for smaller pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 6 on our list. Now, number 5 on our list is QAD. And last year we had SAP S/4HANA, some changes there. QAD targets slightly larger pharma companies, and that are going to be anywhere from roughly $100 million to $2 billion in revenue. The strength for QAD is that it's really heavy in the supply chain processes. It can support the process as well as discrete business models together as part of the same product, but it's really strong in the discrete manufacturing capabilities. It's not as strong in the process manufacturing capabilities. The strength is going to be ability to support diversified business model. So if you are going to be producing very complex drugs and devices, packaging, that's where QAD may be a great fit. The process manufacturing capabilities are going to be relevant as well. Some of the other products might claim that they have process manufacturing capabilities, but they might not be as thick as what you are going to find in your QAD. The rich ERP capabilities to support mid to large pharma companies, and the weaknesses for QAD is the technical architecture. The underlying technology is not as modern as some of the other products. It still utilizes some of the legacy technology. So if you are going to need deeper customizations, you probably need to rely on QAD to provide that. The UI and UX might feel superior just because they have modernized that layer, but the underlying layer may not be as friendly. And that's why you don't have as much talent ecosystem that is consulting on QAD. So finding partners to be able to support QAD product may be a challenge. Primarily targeted for discrete manufacturing vertical, so it's not really a process solution. So if you are very deep into the process manufacturing in the PLM, that is going to be very process centric, then QAD may not be the best fit. Having said that, QAD is still a very strong product for pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 5 on our list. Number 4 on our list is ECI GCOM. Last year we had SysPro, so some changes there. ECI GCOM is a very process-centric solution. It might not be as strong in the discrete manufacturing capability. It's a very small solution targeted for very small pharma companies, but overall in the smaller ecosystem, the ECI DCOM technology is far superior in general because it's SQL Server based and it is going to have cloud native UI. So you are going to like the product a lot, but overall in the thickness of the functionality, it's not going to have all of those deeper features when you are going to look for those one-to-one scenarios. So overall, ECI DCOM is a great fit for e-commerce and DTC companies where you require the process manufacturing capabilities. ECI DCOM could be a great fit. The last mile capabilities for pharma companies is going to be there for smaller pharma companies. The financial backing of private equity and the technical architecture, in general, that is very good. The weakness for ECI DCOM is going to be only suitable for smaller pharma companies. It's not as great fit for large pharma companies. Ability to support diversified business models. So when you are going to have discrete as well as process, it's primarily a process-centric solution, but you can do a lot with DCOM in general, especially for the smaller companies. The weaker supply chain and financial capabilities, the operational capabilities are great, but it's not as great from the finance accounting perspective. So depending upon what you care for more and which architecture you are trying to build, ECI DCOM could be a fit, may not be a fit. Having said that, ECI DCOM is still a very strong product for pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 4 on our list. Number 3 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Last year we had QAD at this spot, so some changes there. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is the SMB solution from Microsoft. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central does really well in the pharma space, even though you are probably going to require a lot of add-ons on top of this for it to work in the pharma ecosystem. But there are some unique aspects of the product that work really well in the pharma space. For example, when you are going to be needing the multiple serial numbers, multiple lot numbers on the same product, a lot of products may struggle with that. Even if you have IP on top of those horizontal products, it might never work for your business. And that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is unique, because it has support for pharma companies from the data model perspective. And some of the ISVs are trying to sell their IP. That IP may not be proven, may be error prone, may not be well documented. So you might struggle with the implementation issues there with Microsoft. But overall, the strength for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is going to be the native support for those packaging serial number as well as lot numbers and deep supply chain and bin allocation capabilities. So if you're going to be very heavy in the distribution processes, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is really strong there. The weaknesses for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is going to be it is going to require the add-on for DSCSA compliance. Most likely you are going to find a lot of players in that space, so they might be able to support with that compliance, but they will require that. Does not have native support for formulation management, so you will require an add-on for that as well, and not suitable for pharma manufacturers because in general the manufacturing capabilities are going to be super lean and you will require tons and tons of add-ons to support those business processes. So that's going to be a challenge. Having said that, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central is still a very strong product, and that's why it ranks at number 3 on our list. Now, number 2 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO. Last year we had ECI DCOM, so some changes there. Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO has very similar positioning as your Oracle Cloud ERP or SAP S/4HANA, targeting very large companies, publicly traded, or those are going to be in $1 billion plus revenue. That's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO really shines. The advantage with Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is that the data model is going to be supporting the pharma-centric processes, and then you have several add-ons available in Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO space that are proven, but you require expertise to be able to vet these add-ons because there are going to be multiple options. So creating that architecture does require a little bit of technical expertise, the third-party expertise who can vet how these solutions are going to work together. And even if you are able to select these products, even implementation requires the clear boundaries of these add-ons and the processes. Otherwise, you might face challenges during your implementation. The strength for Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is that it has deep ERP capabilities for large pharma companies, ability to support diversified business models. So if you are going to be very active in the M&A game and you need a solution that can support a lot, Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O could be a great fit. Pre-integrated best of breed options, CRM is going to be one that is pre-integrated and it's available as part of your Microsoft Dynamics suite, and then field service as well. So you get a lot of options pre-integrated at the database layer from Microsoft. So that's a huge plus for that. Now the weaknesses for Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is the limited last mile functionality for DSCSA compliance. Now they might reside in the add-on. So, but you have the add-on, so you are going to have all of those vendor risk, the add-on risk. But if that is the only option that you have and you are buying Microsoft for the deeper financial capabilities as well as the agility that it is going to provide from the financial perspective, then it could be a great fit. The over bloated financial control processes, sometimes they could require far more implementation time to disable those processes, to be able to configure, to be able to test. Yes, they are going to be configurable. It's just that they are going to take longer to be able to test. And if you don't test, you might struggle post implementation. Not fit for smaller and mid-sized pharma companies just because the solution is very large. Having said that, Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is still a very strong solution for pharma companies, and that's why it ranks at number 2 on our list. Now, number 1 on our list is Sage X3. Last year also we had Sage X3, so no changes there. Sage X3 has very similar market positioning as your QAD product. Sage X3 is going to be far deeper in general in process manufacturing capabilities as well as distribution capabilities. The QAD product is going to be far deeper in general in the discrete manufacturing capabilities. But overall, from the market perspective, Sage X3 also targets the companies that are going to be anywhere from $100 to $250 million to up to $2 to $3 billion. And the strength for Sage X3 is that it is a great alternative for large pharma companies, designed for process and food manufacturing companies, and great ecosystem of consultants for pharma validation that you are not going to find with some of the other solutions. The weakness for Sage X3 is the DSCSA compliance may require additional efforts, not suitable for smaller pharma companies, and limited pre-integrated best of breed options that you are going to find overall when you are going to be looking at the architecture for those large companies. And if you require best of breed CRM, best of breed CPQ, you might not find all of that in Sage X3 portfolio, and you will require far more integration effort with that. So that's it for the list. If you enjoyed this list, we are going to include a detailed article that is going to have deeper analysis. So you might want to check that out. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you don't want to miss them. And this podcast is also available in the audio form on Apple, Spotify, as well as Google. So if you prefer that, hit the subscribe button there. And if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2023, we are going to include the link. So check that out. On that note, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.